Welcome back to the Deep Digger Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Drop some comments below because we are digging into college football, baby.
Yep, we're talking about the top 25 this week. So let's just dig right into the matchups. At the top of the list, we have Oregon, Ohio State, Texas. It's a huge week for a lot of these teams trying to get into the playoff. Texas versus Texas A&M in this top three, I think, is the highlight of our week. Do you agree?
I would agree. I mean, this is the game that has the most stakes on it. This is a trip to the SEC Conference Championship game. I think this is the one that has the most to lose to it. I mean, realistically, Texas A&M just dropped a game, but as we heard Mike Elko last week, all eyes are focused on Texas. I mean, no, they were focused on Texas. They overlooked that matchup realistically, and they were just chomping at the bit for this one. Texas, on the other hand, hasn't really been tested. Their one big test was Georgia, and they got dog walked. So how are they going to face going in to College Station on Kyle Field? It's going to be rocking in there.
Yeah, no, I don't want to, take anything away from the rivalry, but Ohio State, Michigan not the same as they were last year. Maybe, as heated rivalries go, maybe Michigan puts up a fight and like this is their Super Bowl for them. But I clearly think Ohio State is better. Notre Dame versus USC.
Hold on. Let's stop right there. Ohio State. Michigan's got some juice to them right now. Like they're feeling good. They just flipped the number one recruit. Now he's a quarterback. He's going to be going to Michigan. They are like over here puffing their chest, like, hey, maybe we got a shot. Maybe we can do something. They would love nothing more than to go out there and play spoiler for Ohio State. Ohio State, Ryan Day said some of the worst days of his life were him losing his father and losing to Michigan. Realistically, I don't think this is obviously this is not the big bad wolf that they had been expecting for the past few years, but Ryan Day does need to go out there and prove that he can win this game. Ryan Day does need to go out there and get a win. So I think that this is going to be huge. I think they blow them out, and I think they blow them out big.
Yeah. And then Notre Dame USC. This is the game last year. Is this the one where Caleb Williams cried in the stands, or this
I
not?
believe so. I'm not sure.
This is where he got absolutely destroyed by Notre Dame. I think he threw a bunch of picks, a bunch of sacks. But yeah, USC, Lincoln Riley having a kind of mediocre season. Notre Dame, though, not a great offense. So can they give them some trouble in LA? Maybe.
And USC, I mean, Lincoln Riley is coaching for his job at this point. He made the switch at quarterback. He has a more mobile quarterback in Jordan Mailata, and they've been looking a lot better on offense. I think this is a spot where sneaky Ohio State, sneaky USC could upset. But I mean, realistically, I think it's cemented. I want to see Notre Dame in the college football playoff, and I want to see them lose badly.
Another potential, trap game battle of Georgia's here. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech beat Miami earlier in the season. They've, been stingy, that defense, and they've competed in every game this season. So they're definitely going to try to keep that chip on their shoulder and take down Georgia this week.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try. That'd be cool. But, I mean, Georgia does need to take care of business. I mean, realistically, even if they don't, I think they're kind of cemented into what they're going to be. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to already be in the spot to compete for the SEC championship. They've already said.
All right, and then we got Tennessee, Vandy. Vandy having a good year, relative to what people thought Vandy was going to be. And, I mean, they'd love to play spoiler here against Tennessee.
That would be the most SEC thing right now. That would be just encapsulate this season
Chaos.
as a whole. Just be like, all right, let's throw another monkey wrench into this and figure out how you're going to figure it, what happens from here on out. Hopefully, Tennessee, just for clarity's sake, just to have some normalcy, hopefully Tennessee wins this game.
Yeah, because then we're getting into some crazy scenarios. Syracuse, Miami. I'm just looking at Syracuse schedule for this season. They beat Cal, VTech, NC State. They beat UNLV. Uh, they've lost to they beat Georgia Tech. They lost to Stanford. So is this team on par with some of the teams that Miami has struggled to beat this season? Yes. Uh, does this worry me if that Miami could lose this game? I don't know. Like it's kind of a toss up for me with Miami at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they did bounce back well last week. Miami did. But I mean, Syracuse, they do have a fun quarterback in Kyle McCord. They have had highs in this season. They've had lows in the season. I mean, I don't know what to think of Miami. I don't think they're very much a good team. They've tried to lose 6 of their 10 games, their 10 wins this season. So, I mean, I could see them losing to Syracuse. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and then we got SMU versus Cal. Cal, they were one of the teams that should have beat Miami. They've had up and down season as well. I think they just don't have the firepower passing game to compete in games like this. But they also have stingy defense. They have weapons that can give SMU some trouble here.
Yeah, Cal, I think they just had the highlight of their season last week where they just had that come from behind win. I don't see them going out there and beating this SMU team.
Yeah, and then looking here, 10 through 14, we got Indiana versus Purdue, Boise State, Clemson. This is maybe the second biggest game this week in my eyes. Clemson versus South Carolina, and this is for playoffs on the line. This is for ACC championship on the line. This is potentially shoot South Carolina right back up into this discussion if crazy doomsday scenario happens where teams are losing at the top again this week.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. If you're looking at 3-loss SEC schools, you've got to look at South Carolina as one of the top ones. And so a win with a feather in your cap over Clemson, I think that really helps their case. And Clemson, if you get that win over South Carolina, it shoots you right up into contention. And there could be 3 ACC schools now in play for the college football playoff when we were thinking it was going to be a one bid league.
I don't know who to choose in this game. Honestly, I want to go South Carolina, but I feel like Clemson's, been good. They're at the top right now, like looking right into where they could be. I don't see how they drop this, but I'm also like South Carolina. They have weapons. They have a quarterback, a run game, a receiver. They have defensive linemen. They have everything I would want in a team.
Yeah, I just think that Clemson has Cade Klubnik, and Cade Klubnik I'm not really like a huge on, but I think that he's a very solid, athletic, and accurate quarterback. And he's slowly been plugging away and having a better and better season as he goes. I think that he gets Clemson over the edge, and I think they beat the South Carolina team.
Yeah, and then Alabama drops 6 spots, which I think they should have dropped further. But they have the Iron Bowl this week against Auburn, and I would love nothing more than to see Auburn just end Alabama's season this week.
Auburn coming off a huge win against Texas A&M. They're feeling good about themselves. They're like, okay, you know what? We just pulled off an upset win. We can do it again. Why not in the biggest rivalry that we have this year? Let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be huge for them. Arizona State, they're right now the 12 seed in the playoff. They are taking on Arizona. I mean, rivalry game also. Arizona has a quarterback, but Arizona State's hot. Did you see the coach telling people like, "Hey, come pay us. Come pay these guys."
Yeah, and I think they continue to steamroll. I think Arizona State is going to end up taking the Big 12. I don't know if they deserve to be in the playoff, but we'll see.
Ole Miss kind of in that same situation as South Carolina at 16 here. They just got to win and then see if chaos happens above them, because now it's kind of too little too late for them controlling their own destiny. But they're not too far off of the playoff race, but I don't see them really getting back in unless a lot of teams lose this week.
I think Ole Miss, their losses are much worse than South Carolina's losses. I mean, we just seen what they looked like last week. It just looked Jackson Dart. I don't know what he was doing on those last 2 interceptions. The interception that got overturned, and then right off the bat going out and throwing another pick. It just like he's forcing things that aren't there. He's seeing ghosts for sure. So, and they just got bullied on the offensive line. That Florida defense went out there and just sacked them from head to toe. So I in my mind, Alabama and Ole Miss are eliminated. I don't see them coming back from those.
In my mind too. Then we get into some Big 12 action here and some American Athletic with Tulane. Iowa State in a tough matchup with Kansas State this week, trying to cling on to winning the Big 12. Tulane versus Memphis. Memphis can put up points, but they don't got a defense. I think Tulane rolls through this one. And then BYU versus Houston. Who do you think is winning the Big 12?
It's a crapshoot. I mean, realistically, there are 3 Big 12 teams at 9-2. There are 2 Big 12 teams in Kansas State and Colorado that have 3 losses. I don't know. Like, they're cannibalizing each other. Then there's no true like contender. There's no one that you feel like, okay, if they get into it, they're gonna win 2 games in the college football playoff. So I have no idea who's gonna win this. I know Kansas State's coach is sitting there complaining that they have 9 conference games and other conferences only have 8. I don't think that makes a difference because all of these teams are kind of on the same level, and we've seen that throughout.
Yeah, when these teams play each other, it's like anyone could win, anyone could go off at any moment. But huge week this week for Texas A&M taking on Texas here. They're number 20. They could still win the SEC conference, right?
Yeah, they are. This game for Texas A&M Texas at Texas A&M is for the last spot to face Georgia in the conference championship game.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, even that's what they were saying last week when I was like, okay, they were saying that this is the most Aggie thing that could happen, them losing to Auburn and then going out and beating Texas. And you're like, okay, well, if they do that, then they don't deserve to be in the college football playoff because they lost to Auburn. But look, there's still a path for them to win the SEC, and I think that's the only way that they would get into the college football playoff. And they've had this circled for a while. I think they overlooked Auburn last week. I think that, again, this is going to be a huge test for Texas. It's on the road, College Station. I think that place is going to be jumping. You could see some magic.
I'd love to see the spread on that one. But my money is going on Texas A&M this week. All right, UNLV.
On Texas A&M?
My money's on Texas A&M. Horns down.
Horns down. All right.
Hello? Hung up on them. UNLV with that go-go offense at 21, Illinois at 22. Yeah, they're there. Colorado drops down 7 spots. They're going to play Oklahoma State. Missouri still on the list. Still, I see people trying to say Missouri can make the playoff. Oh, let's put Missouri in, blah, blah, blah. Missouri is a terrible squad. I hope Arkansas runs through them.
I think they will. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think so. But, I mean, an interesting matchup, Colorado taking on Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State does not have a conference win. And do you think they're going to get shut out in the conference? They're going to be fighting tooth and nail to get a conference win. That is going to be an insane game. Colorado, Oklahoma State. I think that's going to be fireworks.
And I think, too, this Colorado squad, real top-heavy, real power, celebrity-driven. Now that they kind of are out of it, they don't have a lot to play for. Do you think they still get up for this one?
I think hands down they do. I think they're competing not just for this year, but they're Dion is trying to set the precedent that this is a championship caliber program, and that doesn't come by laying down. We've seen what happens when you lay down with the program. It sets a stink. Look at Florida State. That should be hands down your example moving forward. If you lay down and you set that precedent that you're going to lay down for certain games, it just happened. That's just something that just poisons your program.
Yeah, and then to wrap up the list here, we got Army versus UTSA. Army, hell of a season. I mean, laying the groundwork, like you're saying, for next season. Maybe they go undefeated and make playoff. So that's all.
I mean, they still have a chance to knock off a really good team in Tulane. I mean, if they do meet them in the conference championship game, that's a solid win. But if Tulane does beat them, Tulane has a very viable spot to move into the playoff contention.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be right here to cover it. So Make sure you subscribe, like this video, share it around, comment, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time.
Later.
See ya.